Hey everybody, this is Giancarlo Aulino reporting for the Game Plan and this special collaboration with sportsboom.com. I'm happy to be joined by my guest today who's going to be talking about UFC 322, which takes place this Saturday at Madison Square Garden. She is a former UFC fighter turned analyst and journalist for Sportsnet. She is Diana Belbita. How you doing, Diana?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. And Diane, I guess we should start there. Former UFC fighter. Now you're on the media side of things for Sportsnet. So how did this all come about for you?
Well, considering how I got the news that I can't really fight anymore, it was a little bit heartbreaking. But the fact that I am able to still be at the events, at the UFC events, it means a lot for me. Yeah, maybe I'm not, I'm not putting the gloves on and go to fight, but being on the media side is really cool because I always wanted to be able to go at the UFC during the fight week and not having to cut the weight, because that was what killed my mood for the whole week. But now, I just go there, do some interviews, talk about fights, and they are all cool, and talk with the fighters. So definitely, I enjoy doing that.
What are the press conferences like? Because we see you ask questions, whether it be to some of the fighters competing or there's Dana White over there. So is it different now being on the other side of things? Before you were the one being asked questions and now you're asking the questions?
Yeah, obviously it's so different. And I remember, like for me now as a journalist, as an analyst, I'm trying to, when I do the interviews with the fighters or when I ask questions at the press conferences, I'm trying to not ask those dumb questions that I hated when I was a fighter. All the time, the same questions, and I always hated. And I'm like, I don't want to do interviews anymore. And now I'm trying as much as I can to avoid doing that because I know what fighters like and I know what fighters don't like. So I'm happy because some of the fighters actually told me after the interviews, "Oh, it's so cool to say interview with you because you are asking cool questions." I'm like, "Oh, are you serious?" But I really think because I have the experience as a fighter, it really works well for me and makes me understand the fighter that I do the interview with, makes me understand them better. And for the press conferences, so it's not mandatory for me to ask questions at the press conferences, but I'm doing it because I try to get as much work in as I can, so I get as much experience as I can. The only thing is, like, it's always funny because that microphone is always too tall for me. So I always have to go on my tippy toes and still try to reach it. So I remember the last one, the last press conference, I think was the one in Vegas. I couldn't reach the microphone at first, and I was trying to speak, and I'm like, do they hear me? Do they not hear me? What's going on? So I think I stumbled a little bit at the beginning, and then I'm like, I don't even want to watch the press conference back because I felt like I stumbled there, but it was because the microphone was so tall, so I was overthinking it. But then everything played out well. Yeah, and sometimes I go there, prepare some questions, like two questions for two fighters, whatever. And I'm saying this because I saw in a few comments, when people are telling me that it's disrespectful that I ask more than one or two questions. But I am asked to do that. Like UFC people ask me, like, can you ask this guy and this guy and this guy? And usually it happens, I'm right on the spot. I ask my one or two questions. Then some people come to me and like, can you ask a few more? Can you ask this guy and this guy? And I'm like, holy smoke, yes, I think. Like I remember in Chicago when I was, I did my questions. I asked my questions. Then the UFC people come to me and ask me if I can ask Cannonier and MVP extra questions. I had one kind of prepared for Cannonier, but for MVP I had nothing prepared because I didn't expect the other media people to not ask MVP because he's a cool guy. It's a superstar. Like I thought everybody's gonna keep him busy. There's no point for me to ask him. And then right on the spot, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna ask. And while I asked Cannonier his question. Then I let him answer, and then I'm thinking like, what the hell I'm gonna ask this guy now? So then I'm like, and now I have a question for MVP. And everybody's like, yeah, and the MVP is whatever he's doing there. And my mind was still blank. Like, I have no idea what I'm going to ask him. And then I'm just like, right in a second, just something comes in my mind. Is like, what should fans expect from you tomorrow night or something like that? And everybody's just cheering and he's happy with the question. And I'm happy too, because it was just like in a fraction of a second, that thing just popped up in my mind. So yeah, so I'm not just being disrespectful asking 5, 6 questions. I am asked to do that, and of course I enjoy to do that because I like to get all the extra experience in, and that works good for me.
That's great. And are you enjoying this now? Like, did you think you would be a part of this side now, like so soon after your career was done?
Well, I kind of expected at some point to go on the media side. Definitely, I didn't expect to be so soon because I still think my English is not perfect. So I still think I have to work a little bit on my English. I just moved to the States. So kind of everything is a little bit new for me. But I'm the person that never missed an opportunity on my life. Like every time, everything happened in my life very quick. Like I was in some TV shows and everything was like, they asked me on December 18 to go in a show for a few months, and we had to leave on January 1st. So everything was so quick, everything, and I never said no. Same when I moved to Canada. I decided to move to Canada in a week. I packed everything and I moved. So same now. Like I was like, I'm totally unprepared for doing the media side, but I'm not going to miss this opportunity. And of course, at first, I overthink it a little bit. I stressed a little bit. I over-prepared. Even now, I'm going over-prepared. Like last month, I had, when UFC was in Vegas, I had my first live show for 2 hours. When me and Aaron, we had to talk 2 hours during the weigh-in show. And I'm like, I'm totally unprepared. I don't know what to expect. I watch other weigh-in shows in the past, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to ask those fighters. I know they are cutting weight. I know they are not in the best mood. They just want to drink and eat and whatever. And I prepared, like, I remember a top of paper, and even on that table there, small table, if you watch the show, you can see that I have a lot of papers. Like everything went so smooth that I didn't look. Only one time I look at one of the papers, and that's it. And I'm like, why did I prepare for like 2 weeks straight, every single day, studying every single fighter, his last two fights, if ever the fight missed the weight, or if one of his opponents missed the weight, and like everything. And I didn't need all this information. But I'm happy that I did that because, I felt comfortable there. I felt prepared. So, yeah, I enjoy doing this. It's a lot of work for me right now because English not being my first language is, of course, not easy for me. But like even I'm going to work the UFC 322 event and I'm already preparing some interviews. Like I'm already studying the fighters, like their last few fights, the other interviews to see if I don't know, if they call somebody out in an interview and the fight didn't happen, or like all those small things that I need to know, or at least I try to know.
That's great. And you mentioned it there, like this Madison Square Garden card, stacked card. The main event will start there because Islam Makhachev vacated the lightweight championship, moves up. Della, Maddalena, new welterweight champion. What are you expecting out of this? Because the whole thing about Islam, he was so dominant, and now he's moving up where he's not cutting weight anymore, but he's got the bigger opponent.
That's the thing, because if you have asked me before I start working as an analyst, I will have told you Islam Makhachev is going to win it easy. But now, because I learned to look a little bit deeper into those fighters and the situation, I can tell you that. Because we have a few factors that change. Like, of course, Islam Makhachev is a dominant fighter, but he's a very dominant at 155. He's not the same at 170. Because it's his first fight at 170. And he's going to face bigger opponents, but he also said that cutting weight to 155 made him perform at only 60% of his potential. But now I'm like, I'm gonna believe it or I'm not gonna believe it. Because I made those changes in my career. I moved from 125 to 115 and then back to 125. And when I moved to 115, from 125 to 115, I felt strong, but exactly how Makhachev said, I couldn't perform at my best. Then I moved back to 125, but I was obviously dominated by the power and the size difference. So it's going to be a big question mark if actually Islam Makhachev can bring the speed and explosiveness that he has, and at the 155, if he can bring it to 170 with the bigger opponents. At the same time, let's not forget that Della is not the biggest 175er. So I don't know. It's hard to predict this fight because I will think that it's the classic matchup, the clash of styles, the grappler versus the striker. But if we look a little bit more into those guys' styles, they are both complete MMA fighters. So now I'm like, I'm not going to be surprised if Makhachev will just try to strike more. Or actually, I think I watched an interview, was for like a month ago maybe, with Islam, when he said that it's not a secret that I'm going to try to take Jack Della Maddalena down and finish him. But the question is like, is he gonna be able to take Jack Della Maddalena down? Because Jack Della Maddalena, it's a bigger fighter than what Islam is used to. So there are so many question marks that is really hard to predict this fight. I'm happy I'm not allowed to bet, and I'm happy I don't bet on the fights, because it'll be really hard to do it.
And you mentioned it there too, like going up. A lot of fans maybe look over that he is gonna go up 15 pounds from 155 to 170, and you yourself, like you've gone up 10 pounds from strawweight to flyweight. What is that like for a fighter when you're going up and you're dealing maybe with a different training camp and weight cut than you're used to?
Well, many times, many fighters make the mistake to not stress about the weight cut anymore once they go up on the weight class. So I saw many times when fighters went up a weight class and missed the weight. Because they're like, oh, I don't have to cut so much weight, so I'm going to be fine until 2 weeks before the fight. But at the same time, they try to gain some muscle, so be stronger. So they will still have to cut the same amount of weight. They just don't consider that, so they end up missing the weight. Because from what Makhachev said, he was doing a lot of weight training, getting a lot of protein shakes, so he can gain some muscle. So I expect him to be a little bit bigger, but it's important. How is he gonna be used to this extra weight? Like, is that gonna slow him down a little bit? Is that gonna make him a little bit more tired? Because his style is very explosive. He's not just the guy that hugs you and keeps you there. Because usually, I'm gonna be honest. Usually, I'm against wrestlers. I'm like, I don't like to watch wrestlers. But Makhachev, it's a different type of wrestler. The guy is a complete MMA fighter. He's very explosive and very fast. But when you fight a weight class with 15 pounds more, like, it's gonna be a little bit different. It depends if he's gonna be able to bring his speed and everything from 155 to 170. For me, moving from 115 to 125, it didn't really matter because I didn't make many changes during my training camp, because I had to marry the same week. So I married on the day of the weight cut. So I didn't really care much about the weight cut. I was like, just like, I'm going a weight class up so I don't have to be dehydrated and die on my wedding day, you know? So yeah, for me it was a little bit different. I mean, I didn't train weights and I didn't got a lot of protein and stuff. So I gain a lot more muscle. I just wanted to not have to cut so much weight because it was really bad for me to cut so much weight for 115.
Yeah, and with Islam too, he does have Habib training him for this and being full time with his camp. Like, do you think that's going to help him, or like Jack Della Maddalena, knowing what he's seen from Makhachev when he fought Volkanovski the 2 times? Like, who would you say would have the advantage there?
Well, it's obviously Jack Della Maddalena will have the advantage because he's talking and get help from the former opponent of Makhachev. Like this guy, like Volkanovski faced Makhachev. He knows what he was doing during the fight. He knows, like, oh, when this guy shoots on you, his grip is really strong. When he throws some certain punches, he maybe gets, like, he saw those openings. On the other side, Khabib is a coach. He sees those things from the side. Same like Jack Della Maddalena, he has some coaches. They see the things from the side. So if we talk about the advantage based on the information that they get from, like, the inside information that they get, I think Jack Della Maddalena has a little bit a small advantage there. But again, we are talking about 2 champions. Does that small advantage counts? I really think it's important how they react in a fight, and their fight IQ is really important, because we can agree that we have 2 very skilled fighters that meet each other in a cage. So it's obviously that everything is going to be by the reflex, based on the reflex. They're both trained, so you can say, like, oh, one is going to be not trained, the other is no. It's based on how they manage the fight. Their IQ, their fight IQ, it's going to play a big role.
I agree. And then we go to the co-main event, and I know this one, you fought in both divisions, so you got to keep an eye on their brilliance and what they've been able to do. Zhang Weili, former strawweight champion, she's doing what Islam's doing and moving up to take on Valentina Shevchenko. When this fight was announced, for you yourself as a fighter that was in those divisions, what was your reaction to that?
Well, this was a fight that I expected for a while to happen, because Weili Zhang is so dominant on the strawweight division that I don't think she can have an opponent that can actually challenge her and be an entertaining fight. Like, as Mackenzie Dern is the new champion in strawweight division, and she said, if Weili Zhang will still have been champion right now, I will not have been prepared to fight her, which I agree. She's not the level of Weili Zhang. So then it was pretty obvious that Weili is going to have to move up and fight Valentina and make this big, huge fight, But here it's a small thing because if I talk about Islam and Jack Della Maddalena, and I said, it depends how much Islam it's gonna bring, the speed and the movement and everything in the other weight class. This time it's a little bit different because Weili Zhang was never a big strawweight. She was pretty tall. Yes, she's jacked, she has the muscle, she's very skilled, that's true. But she's also pretty small for strawweight. So going up to flyweight, I really think the strength difference and the size difference is gonna play a big role. And she also faces a very skilled fighter. It's not like she just faces somebody in top 15. She's facing the champion. She's facing Valentina. She was champion for so many years. So I really think Weili Zhang really has the disadvantage in this fight. It's gonna just be a little bit about if she can bring the skill, because she's it's hard for me to say that she's more skilled than Valentina, because I can't say that somebody is more skilled than Valentina. But anyway, she has crazy skills. So if she can bring that to the flyweight division and have a really good game plan, yes, she has a chance to win. But I will be probably like 30% Weili Zhang and 70% Valentina, just because of the strength difference and the size. I will actually get the chance to talk with Valentina during the fight week, so I'm gonna ask her what she thinks about this, because from outside it looks like it's an easy matchup for her, like, oh, you are fighting the small girl and whatever. But again, we are talking about a champion, a UFC champion. I will never count the UFC champions out.
Yeah, and Valentina too, her title reign, which she was able to do the first time, and then even though she lost to Grasso, she did get it back, and now she's looking to have another legendary reign there. What do you think would be next for her? Like, if she can beat Weili Zhang in decisive fashion, like, should she go up to bantamweight and maybe try and get that title again, as Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes sort that out?
So that's a really good question, because I always wonder if Valentina will go up to fight again at bantamweight. She is doing amazing on the flyweight, and when she fought Amanda Nunes, I really think she was undersized. So she was so small. So I don't know. I think she will be interested, because she's a fighter and she will take any fight. I don't think she cares who she fights. She will be interested in this matchup, but maybe only if Amanda Nunes wins the fight and she will face Amanda Nunes again, because I feel like she wants to prove herself. She wants to prove that she's better than Amanda. I don't think it will be a fair matchup between Valentina Shevchenko and Kayla Harrison. I know Kayla is very interested in this fight. She said she wants to fight Amanda Nunes soon and then fight maybe Valentina Shevchenko at the White House. But I don't think that should happen, because it's a big size difference. Of course, they make the weight, but Kayla Harrison, it's a huge bantamweight. Like, I think she weighs, the day of the fight, she's probably, I don't know, 165 or something. Like, she's huge on the day of the fight. So Valentina will definitely have a big disadvantage there.
And in terms of like women's MMA, there's a lot of stories coming out, exciting ones maybe, about a return of Ronda Rousey. Do you think she's interested, or if you were to say, as on the outside looking in, do you think she would return right now, or do you think it's just all speculation?
No, I don't think she's gonna come back, and she will be dumb if she comes back. Like, why? MMA evolved so much for the last years that fighters that were champions 10 years ago, they can't be champions right now. They will probably not even be close to top 10 right now, because MMA is the sport that evolves every single year. So her coming back, like, who do you think she will be able to beat in the bantamweight division? Because she was a bantamweight. Even if right now looking at her, I'm like, she probably can make 125. She can go down to flyweight. But anyway, like, let's talk about bantamweight. Like, she will not beat Norma Dumont. I don't think she'll be able to beat Norma. I don't even think she will beat Yana Santos. I don't even think she will beat Macy Chason, to be honest, because it's the level is so different what was years ago with what is right now, that I don't think it's okay for her to come back. And I don't think she's gonna come back. She has a family. She has a cool life. She has money. She doesn't need money. So what is gonna motivate her to come back? Like, I'm thinking about myself. Fighting MMA doesn't motivate me anyway. Like, it doesn't, I don't feel it anymore. So what can motivate me right now to fight MMA? Maybe money, like it will be a lot of money. other than that, I'm not really interested anymore. So I think she feels the same. Like what she has to prove. She's a legend. She was the champ for so many years. She opened the doors for the women's in MMA. She did a lot. So she doesn't need to come back and prove more. Prove what? And just get some losses and will be a lot of drama. It's no point for that.
Do you think it would like tarnish her legacy if she were to come back and because she did it before and then Amanda Nunes beat her in 40 seconds? Like, do you think that would maybe ruin her legacy if she came back?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people are gonna say like, "Oh, she was," because you know how MMA fans are. Like, "Oh, you are good," and then you lose once, and like, "Oh, let's have that conversation. She was never that good," and exactly that's how it's gonna go. That's why it's good that Khabib retired at the right time, because nobody can say like, "Oh, he was never that good," because I'm pretty sure if you all have fought a few more fights, probably at some point you will have lost, and people will have talked like that about him. And from what I know, before Ronda's last fight, she never actually announced that she's retired. So she was just, disappointed, depressed, whatever. So she took a long break. Then she come back and it didn't work well for her. And I think that's how it should be. People already talk, oh, she was never that good because she lost to Amanda. But also she lost to Amanda Nunes, like the GOAT.
Yeah.
So she cannot be judged too harsh, too rough about that. But now coming back, I really think she will ruin her legacy. And people are no, she was never that good. She was really good at that time. But the time changed. MMA changed. The level of MMA changed. So I really think she should not come back.
Yeah, and in terms of like the White House card, that's getting a lot of attention. Dana White's saying that it's not going to be even talked about until February. A lot of people are already saying, yeah, Conor McGregor's a lock for that. Like, do you think Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler is the right fight to make for that?
No, I don't think Conor McGregor should come back and fight. I don't think he wants that. I think he's just teasing about that a lot. Um, I don't really think he's gonna be back. And nobody can prove me wrong so far because there are like what 3-4 years he didn't fight in so long. And I don't think this fight Chandler versus McGregor should be interested for anybody. Chandler, it's I don't know 2-4 in UFC or something. Like why will he be the main event for the White House? I will definitely agree with the John Jones versus Pereira as the main event. But McGregor, like, can we actually believe that McGregor is going to be back for that fight, or we're just going to be again have high hopes, and then a few weeks before the fight he gets injured or he pops from some I don't know substance and stuff like that. So no, I really don't think McGregor should even be in this conversation for the White House. I think there are people that are more deserved.
Also, you mentioned there like John Jones, Alex Pereira. I know in our past conversations we spoke about him and his incredible rise there to the division and becoming a true division champion. Now he regained the title against Ankalaev. He wants to go up to heavyweight and called out John Jones. Like, do you think that's the fight to make, even though it's not for a title?
Yeah, but I think that can be for a title. Why not? Like, why not make that for the heavyweight championship? And I have to tell you some of those things. So I worked Pereira's last fight, Pereira versus Ankalaev, the second fight. So I remember first time Pereira was all, funny, dancing, whatever. This time he was so locked in the full fight week that was scary. Like before, he was always making jokes, making those funny videos. This time was no way. Like this guy was locked in. I'm like, because I was thinking, Ankalaev won the first fight. He has the big chance to win this time because he comes in confident. It may be a little bit of pressure on Pereira. He doesn't have maybe not enough experience in MMA, especially against wrestlers. Last time, Ankalaev made it look a little bit easy, the fight, because for the first three rounds, he was striking with Pereira, but because Pereira was worried about the takedowns, he couldn't actually let his hands go. And then the last two rounds, he was just, holding him more. But this time, when I saw Pereira the whole fight week, like the guy was not joking, not a joke. Usually he's very bubbly, very jokey, whatever. This time was not a joke. He was locked in from when I arrived there on a fight week, at the fight week, and I saw him for the first time till he won the fight. This guy was not joking that week. So the moment the fight started, he was just on. He just pressed the gas pedal and he was just on. There was no chance for Ankalaev. And that's that was a really nice thing to see, because for me as a fighter myself, it's I start questioning myself. I'm like, did did I just saw my fights different and not like was I like Pereira in the first fight and I couldn't lock in like he did for the second fight? Because for the second fight, when the fight started, like I was like, Ankalaev has no chance to win this one anymore, just because of not because the skill. I'm pretty sure Pereira's skill didn't change in a few months, but because of his mental, because of his motivation going into that fight. So that was really beautiful to see what the mind can do in a fight.
I agree. Like from a fan, even watching it, I saw a lot of fans saying that there's something different about Pereira in this camp. So do you think now that he beats Ankalaev, like that silenced maybe a lot of critics who said like he can't do that same thing against more of a grappler?
Yeah, I really think if Pereira will have lost the second fight with Ankalaev, people will be like, "Oh, this is his weakness, the grappling." Not even you don't need to be the top grappler to beat Pereira. Just wrestle him a little bit, and you are gonna win the fight. But he proved it different. He proved it that he didn't. Even if at first in the first fight he was a little bit worried about the grappling, because I'm sure that's why he couldn't fight the way he fights. The second half fight, he proved that he doesn't give a damn about the grappling. He just steps forward, and he can knock out any striker or grappler in front of him. Yeah, that's all.
Diana, there's also going to be a lot of talk there in the UFC about this new deal and who should headline the first event when they go to Paramount Plus. A lot of people are saying Ilya. A lot of people are saying Volkanovski. Like, what would be your ideal main event for them to kick off this new deal and the next 7 years?
I don't know why they need such a big thing, such a big fight for the first event on Paramount. Like, just make a nice pay-per-view and that's it. But now we have to think about that. Yeah, Ilya, it's a big name, but who will be his opponent for that? Because it's not Makhachev anymore, because he moved up. Like, will Makhachev go down? But I remember I watched an interview with Makhachev and he said he's not really interested in that because he has nothing to win there. Like, what? Go back and win the belt, beat Ilya and win the belt? No, he's not interested. I totally disagree of Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett. I don't think Paddy, I don't think he deserves to be next in a line. So who? Who will Ilya fight to be because you need two fighters to make a good fight, right? You can't just have a superstar and just, let's hope we find somebody that can fight him.
Like Justin Gaethje, maybe?
Justin Gaethje, but against who? Against Ilya? That actually will be a good fight. That actually will be good. But I mean, now Ilya, it's a little bit scary just because the way he performed the last few fights. Yeah. So that's a little bit, it's a big question mark there if actually Gaethje can beat Ilya or not. I like Justin Gaethje more than I like Ilya. So I'm thinking from Justin Gaethje's point of view, like I want him to win. So I don't think this is a very good matchup for him. But yeah, this definitely can be a big fight. Yeah, maybe this is a good one. I agree. Or are we gonna put Pereira again?
No, I never know. He wants to fight like 10 times a year. Merab probably 1 month he'll turn around and after Peter Yan and say he wants to fight again the next month. So a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but I heard Aljamain Sterling saying that after this fight, all the training partners, like Merab training partners, they want a break, want a vacation. They are tired of being in a gym all the time. They fight, don't fight, doesn't matter. Merab is fighting, so they have to train. So I think he needs a break too. Yeah, Ilya can be an option, and Pereira didn't fight. Like, maybe he can come back and fight, but again, like, fighting who? Because if we save the John Jones versus Pereira for the White House, then we cannot put him as a big main event on the Paramount. So yeah, I'm pretty sure UFC and Dana White, they have some good ideas for that.
Definitely be interesting to see there. Diana, you've been really generous with your time. Greatly appreciated. Before we wrap up and let you go here, how can our viewers at Sports Boom and the Game Plan follow you on social media?
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram, Diana Belbita. You are going to find it there, and Twitter, and almost of the social media, TikTok and Facebook. But Instagram is the main one, so that's where I'm the most present. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
I highly recommend that follow. And Diana, I appreciate you sharing your time and coming on here for the interview to talk all about this. And I wish you all the best this week and looking forward to seeing your fight week stuff for Sportsnet.
Thank you. Thank you so much.